You know me, I love movies. I enjoy watching movies just as much as I enjoy reading books. And in my opinion, 2019 was an incredible year for filmmaking. So I want to share with you my top 10 movies that I saw in 2019. Just keep in mind that these movies are the movies that I saw in 2019. These are movies that were released here in Mexico City during 2019. So, in case you see a movie that was released for you before 2019, that's why. And also, if you don't see a movie in this list, that might be because it hasn't been released here in Mexico yet. So before I get started with my top 10, I have some honorable mentions. My honorable mentions are Downton Abbey. I just loved that experience. It was a lovely movie. Hotel Mumbai, which was a thrilling and suspenseful experience from beginning to end. Border, which is a Swedish or Danish or Norwegian, let's just say Scandinavian movie about trolls, and it is so smart and subversive. I just love that. Parasite, which is a Korean movie that is going to win a lot of accolades, a lot of recognition this following season, and deservedly so. Can You Ever Forgive Me with Melissa McCarthy, with the writer. Just a really, really funny, thrilling movie as well. Mid-90s, which is about this kid who is growing up in Los Angeles, I believe, and he is sort of finding himself, finding his identity, and growing up, and he gets involved with this skater kids, and it's just a wonderful movie. Vice, the movie about Dick Cheney. I just loved watching that movie, the editing, the storytelling, the weird flow of that movie. Just love that. And finally, my last honorable mention is Sauvage or Savage, which was a French film about a male gay prostitute that is the definition of a borderline personality disorder of low functioning. So that's a really great movie. If you are interested in psychopathology, that is a great example of that pathology. So those are my honorable mentions. Now I'm gonna get started with my actual top 10. Just keep in mind, all of these movies are amazing. All of them I hugely, widely recommend that you go and see. But these are movies that for some reason gave me the most joy and the most excitement. So these are my top 10 movies of 2019. At number 10, Yesterday. Yes, I know, this was a very controversial movie. Some people like me adored it. Some people hated it. I have to confess, I've never been a huge The Beatles fan. I enjoy the music. I think it's okay. I just never think about the Beatles, honestly. But watching this movie and the joyful, whimsical, effervescent energy in this movie and in the characters and the portrayal of those songs just made me tingle with excitement and joy, and it's certainly one of the best experiences that I had this year at the movie theater. Coming in at number 9 is Climax by Gaspar Noé. This movie was crazy. It's not a movie that I saw more than once, I believe, because it's not a movie that you want to see more than once. It is the definition of a nightmare. But oh my God, this is filmmaking. To me, this was one of the most cinematic experiences of the year. The whole thing is just masterfully done. It's kinetic. It's about movement. It's about dancing. It's about these dancers who are rehearsing for a gig, and then someone decides to put some LSD in the punch, and everyone gets shit-faced and delirious and paranoid, and the most horrific, nightmarish things imaginable start happening before your eyes, and you feel like you are there and you want to die. So why did I love this movie? Because it's freaking amazing. The direction is amazing, and so are the performances and the choreography and the whole idea that that is this movie. You know, the long tracking shots and the camera movements, you just feel completely swept away in the filmmaking. Coming in at number 8 is a movie that I don't think got enough recognition, or at least I didn't hear a lot of people talking about it, and I think it should be talked about. This was Bad Genius, and it is just a perfect heist movie with teenagers in Asia. I don't remember where exactly, but they are trying to come up with this like Ocean's 11 kind of con. But I honestly don't want to say more information about the synopsis because it's a movie that I went into blindly, and I just kept wowing at the screen the more and more I watched, and the more I felt enveloped in its crazy, frenetic storytelling. This is a wonderful, exciting, super fun movie, and the filmmaking is really great. Coming in at number 7 is Gloria Bell, starring Julianne Moore. This is a movie that I saw many times at the theater. I really love the way that it's written. More than anything else, I love the direction. I love this director. He has done wonderful things, and I think this is actually an English-spoken remake of an original film, Gloria, which was done by the same guy, Sebastián Lelio. And I haven't seen the original one, so I'm pretty sure that one has to be amazing. But this one was incredible too. I'm sure it was just as incredible. I love the filmmaking, and I love the way that Julianne Moore performed this character. I love the story. I love how the little moments are portrayed, the little moments in this woman's life and in her interactions with other people. I love the way that this filmmaker captures those moments. And this is a movie that, just like his other movies, is very trance-like. It feels dreamy, especially that last scene when you can see in the poster where she's dancing. It's a great movie. Coming in at number 6 is Thunder Road. This movie was one of the best indie movies that I saw this year. I think it was my favorite one, except for my number 1 pick, which is also an indie movie, and that was my favorite. But Thunder Road was such a special movie. It's probably the most hilarious movie that I saw this year. I just kept laughing like a madman. I found the acidity and the sweetness and the sourness and the bitterness were handled perfectly in this movie. This movie follows this amazing character who is also the writer, the actor, the writer, and the director, I believe. And he gives an amazing performance. From the very opening sequence of the movie, you are in awe of his performance, the way that he is delivering this amazing dialogue, which is bittersweet, tragic, and incredibly funny at the same time. And those are the kinds of movies that I love the most. The movies with the cleverest, most ambiguous dialogue and script. So yeah, the screenwriting here was incredible, but the whole idea of following this character is something I will never forget. Coming in at number 5 is Marriage Story by Noah Baumbach, a director that I hugely admire. I've enjoyed most of his movies, and I just really click with his style. I know that a lot of people have thought this movie to be a little pretentious or maybe even simple. But when I saw it, I knew that I was watching something that I would rewatch for many times. And this is a perfect example of what I love in movies. The great performances are great not only because of the performance, but because they are in service of supporting the heart, which is the writing. This is a movie about the writing. The writing, which is really Noah Baumbach's writing, it's his essence, is so unbelievably good here. Just like with the Thunder Road movie that I was talking about, this is a great example of a balancing act between the bitter, the sweet, the sour moments in our everyday lives. And, it's just a perfect movie. For me, it was a perfect movie. And on top of that, you have Adam Driver singing Being Alive from Company by Stephen Sondheim. So it's like this entire movie was written for me. And it is a movie that I think is flawless. And I hope it wins all the accolades and all the recognition that it deserves. Coming in at number 4 is another movie that I thought was a perfect movie, and perhaps more than any other movie in this list, the definition of a work of art. Pain and Glory, Dolor y Gloria by Pedro Almodóvar. How can I even begin to put into words what I felt, what I thought, what I experienced when I saw this movie at the theater? This is the most artistic thing on screen possible. From the opening credits, I sat there in awe, and then up until that last sequence, the final scene that is so glorious and clever and simple at the same time. The whole movie was moving and technically perfect. The performance by Antonio Banderas is absolutely the best performance of the year. For me, I think he should win the Oscar and the Golden Globe and the BAFTA and every single award. I feel like this is the performance of the year, except maybe for Adam Driver in Marriage Story. But I feel like this one is even more impeccable. So this movie is incredible. It's about so many things and it's about nothing at the same time. The storytelling itself, the direction, the way that it is done, the way that it is technically done is also remarkable. Visually, the writing, the direction, the performances, it's a perfect movie. If you have not seen this one, this is the movie that I would recommend the most. Okay, now we're down to the nitty-gritty. These are my top 3 favorite movies of the year. And coming in at number 3 is Midsommar by Ari Aster. Do not be confused. It's pronounced Midsommar, not Midsummer. So Ari Aster, of course, helmed Hereditary, which I really loved. But in my opinion, Midsommar is even better. It's flawless and, well, I wouldn't say it's flawless, but I mean, flawless would be Pain and Glory. Pain and Glory is flawless. And even though Pain and Glory is better than Midsommar, I enjoyed Midsommar more because it's a fucking blast to your senses. I felt like this movie was raping me in the good way, everything, the visuals, the performances, the audio, the direction, the camera movements, the lighting, the set design, the production design, everything was made in such a great way that I felt like this movie was invading me and was terrorizing me. And I think it's much better than Hereditary, actually. And so, yeah, this is just one very shocking movie. I thought it was very funny as well. And it's just, as an experience, it's one of the most grandiose cinematic experiences that I've had this year. Coming in at number 2 is Free Solo, the documentary about this guy who climbed El Capitan, free solo, with no gear, no equipment whatsoever, just with his bare hands. And this is one of the best movies I've ever seen in my life. I had never been so tense in my entire life at the movie theater. I was literally standing up from my seat and I was like just tearing my own skin apart. I was biting my nails and pulling my hair out. I was grunting, I was uncomfortable, but it was such a fantastic experience that I recommended it to everybody that I saw. Free Solo is also a very interesting character study. So I actually use some parts of this movie in my psychopathology classes because there are some things going on with this guy in the movie. I mean, he's a very interesting personality type, and it's just a wonderful movie as a sports movie, a documentary about someone trying to do something impossible, but it's also a really deep dive and a very interesting study of a person and what makes this person tick inside. So yeah, if you haven't seen Free Solo, it won the Oscar for Best Documentary, and if it had been for me, it would have won Best Picture as well. But by far, my favorite movie of the entire year was The Art of Self-Defense. This movie was exactly a Juan kind of movie. It's a movie that I marveled at, and I still marvel at. It's a movie that has everything that I love about going to the movies. It's very clever writing. It's hilarious. It's also incredibly violent and dark. It's a dark comedy. It's a satire, so it's a movie that you can interpret in many different ways. It's a movie about sports, again, or about someone trying to do something that is impossible or very hard for them. It's about it's about a character who is trying to transform himself. It's also a social kind of satire. You can interpret it as a commentary on religion, on politics, on free thinking. It's about so many different things, or you can interpret it in many different ways. And it's just a very complex, funny, dark little gem that I encountered this year, and I saw it about 3 or 4 times at the theater. I think the performance in here by Jesse Eisenberg as the main character is incredible, but also the nemesis, the villain of the movie, who is the sort of karate teacher, the mentor that everybody follows. He's the leader of this kind of karate religious sect, and his performance is a perfect performance for me because the performances in this movie are stark, they are very cold, they deliver the dialogue, and they let the dialogue do all of the work. It's very similar, I think, to Yorgos Lanthimos, his style in The Killing of a Sacred Deer and The Lobster. You know, the dialogue is so bonkers, and everything that is happening on screen is so bonkers, and yet the characters never smile. They never laugh. There's no comedy in this movie, and yet it is so fucking hilarious. So yeah, this is the best movie of the year for me. It's absolutely delightful and cerebral and full of layers, and you can watch it many, 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 many times. So that is my favorite movie of the year. Look at my super production, just putting images here on my iPad. But I just really wanted to share with you my top 10 movies of the year. Please let me know what were your favorite picks, your top 10 viewing experiences of the year. I would like to know. And I will see you here with my top 10 favorite movies of 2020 the following year. Thanks for watching. I am Just One Reader.